and welcome to the Sunshine Sports Report on 904 Live. I'm your host, Greg Daniels, and with me today, I have a special guest. Actually, all my guests are special, but I've talked about this fellow once before on our show, maybe several times before. So he's here in person. This is Emmanuel Williams.
What's up, everybody?
He will soon to be a graduate, 2020 graduate of Lee High School in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're going to talk sports because he's a big sports fan. However, what we're going to do is we're going to he's going to speak for a lot of the upcoming graduates here in Duval County and really throughout the country and maybe even the world, because everything was rocking along really well, just like most senior years up until around late December, maybe early January. And he's going to kind of tell us what happened as far as his last year in high school was concerned. So Emmanuel, welcome to the Sunshine Sports Report.
It's good to be
All
here.
right.
It's good to be here.
All right. Before you get started, let me tell you one more story about Emmanuel. Okay, you see the signage up here. That's all his doing. Back in 2010, we had a radio show called the Sunshine Sports Report. So when we knew we were going to do the show, myself and Marlon, we wanted it to be, well, as in most radio, it was local radio. So like in most radio, it's all local. You know, we talked about local things, high school sports, college sports, even professional sports. And we talked about sports here in Florida. So I racked my brain for a couple of weeks trying to come up with a name for the show. I wanted it to say Florida. I wanted people, once they heard the name of the show, they knew exactly what it was, what we were going to be talking about, and where we were from. So, I don't know, I ran across this, I guess at the time, he was probably about 8 years old.
Yeah, like
He was 8 years old. So I said, you know what, Emmanuel, I'm looking for a title for our show. And I wanted to say Florida. I want people to know that it's Florida. And he looked at me, and he thought for a minute, and then he said, what about the Sunshine Sports Report? That was 10 years ago. So we're still going strong from radio to the internet. And Emmanuel, now this is, like we said, his last year in high school, a graduate, 2020 graduate of Robert E. Lee here in Duval County. So Emmanuel, in September of 2019, were you excited about starting school?
I was very excited. Coming in, you know, I felt like, you know, I got 1 foot out the door, the GPA up. I know I'm going to get good grades. I'm an ace this year. So everything was looking up, you know. I was prepping for prom, grad bash, all that good stuff, man.
And this was all September.
All September.
Okay. In October, how were things looking?
Oh, they was still looking up.
Did you do, in October, were you able to do things that seniors do normally?
Yeah, I could, senior skip days.
What? Something that your mom would be proud
of. Spirit Week, you know, my last Spirit Week, homecoming, you know, my last homecoming, so
right.
It was very sentimental for me.
So you did homecoming, and this was all in October.
All October.
So as far as activities were concerned, were you into the athletics and stuff like that, like going to football games, basketball games?
Oh yeah.
So it was normal. It was normal. So you were a senior. The freshmen and the sophomores were all looking up to you.
Right. Yeah, it meant a lot. You know, mostly because it was my last time. So you know, it's like, you know, I really thought about it. I'm like, you know, I would never get this chance again. So, you know, I just have to ride it out. You know, I gotta treasure every moment.
Okay, so now we're around October. Let's go into November. November, Thanksgiving. Everything's looking good now, right? Still
Yeah.
starting to get a little chilly. Not too bad for Florida.
It's
but
40. I was about to say it's Florida.
It's Florida.
so-
It's still
Right.
maybe some cool evenings, but things were still looking good.
Still looking good. Yeah.
So you were going to the dances and all that?
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah.
Okay, December gets around. Christmas time, you
My last winter break.
winter break and all that.
So yeah, I'm still looking good, man.
January hits.
I come back. Second half, my last second half. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna finish strong.
Mm-hmm.
ACT, SAT, all that, getting everything out the way, finishing strong.
Okay, so now this is everything that a senior in any high school in America would go through. This is nothing unusual until January, mid-January. You heard about some kind of virus, a coronavirus. Did you think it would affect you?
I did not. I had no clue that it would affect me. I thought it was like any other, you know, little sickness. I didn't think it would have the effect or the movement it did on the earth. You know.
Okay. So what was the first thing that it affected as far as you were concerned?
My mind. I feel unsure. I wasn't as confident. I didn't feel as, I don't know, hopeful. Like I just thought like, I'm like, you know what? I got a feeling. I got a small feeling that this virus is going to like take everything from me. And, you know, it's a scary feeling, but you know, I'm like, nah. Maybe just, you know, just maybe that's me just tripping out because you know it's my first shift, so you know everything is die hard for me.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's just, you know,
yeah. Yeah, I get it. So because you hadn't been through it,
Right.
but you were thinking, well, perhaps this is maybe how it's supposed to be. You go through some adversities and then things kind of look up.
yeah.
So now, it was about that time too that I noticed this coronavirus. I started noticing things in the sports world start to get canceled, but it wasn't in this country. They were like over in China, some Italy, in Europe, different places. And I thought to myself, that's weird. And we reported it here on this show because I thought it was such a big story that they decided not to have these activities, things that they normally would have. And but I didn't think it would even come over here. This was like late December, early January. And now, what was the first thing that was canceled that you know you were just looking up forward to?
First thing was Grab Bash. That was the first.
Now,
to go.
explain to us older folks what Grab Bash is. What do you do?
So basically, every year, seniors, we go to Universal Studios in Orlando, and we basically have a night full of fun. You know, as many rides as you want to go on. You know, food, all that good stuff. Concerts, big artists come out, give us a concert. It's
Right.
a memorable night.
And just play with Mickey Mouse. Run around there with Mickey Mouse.
One time you get to play with Mickey Mouse as a grown up.
So that got canceled. When was that scheduled for? Do you remember?
I think like April 26th.
Okay,
April
well,
26th.
okay. Then what was next? What did they talk about next?
Next, it was prom. Prom
And
got canceled.
when was that due? May?
May 9th. May 9th.
So that was really a couple of weeks ago. You should have
just-
gone to prom.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what next after the prom?
Next after prom, then everybody started talking about the baccalaureate and graduation.
Okay.
That being the next.
They were talking about it. They weren't sure.
Yeah, they wasn't even sure. So, you know, it just, at this point, everything was up in the air.
Okay.
Leading up to prom and
So now we know that it was canceled.
Yeah.
So what took its place? Did the school or the district decide to give you things in its place? Like, for instance, your baccalaureate. Did y'all have that?
We did have
Was it-
online baccalaureate.
So it was a virtual, what they call virtual.
Virtual baccalaureate. Yeah.
So did you get to see some of your old friends? And,
Yeah, I did. They showed a collage of all the seniors from Beverly Lee. So yeah, I did. I got to see that.
Okay. So what's next? I mean, we're now actually going towards the end of May.
Right.
So you should be going down the aisle a week from Saturday, or is it
Yeah.
this
the
Saturday?
The 29th. I think that's.
That's going to be a couple of Saturdays from now.
Yeah. Okay,
So
yeah, the 29th.
that's going to be virtual as well.
They're saying no. They want to push it for July. We don't even have a day yet for July, but yeah, like all things, you know, it just they trying to keep hope alive as long as they can. So for now, July
in July, you might actually
get to
walk down the aisle and walk across the stage. And okay, all right. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of sports. We'll talk about some of the things that you like, why you like them in sports. We'll talk about the Michael Jordan special, or as it was titled, The Last Dance. We'll talk a little bit about that. See if you're a Michael Jordan fan. Well, you ain't got to laugh about it. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about, hey, they might be playing sports in July. So not only will you walk down the aisle, but you'll also get a chance to watch a little basketball as well. This is the Sunshine Sports Report. We're on 904 Live, and we're here every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. I know you're a big listener and watcher, right?
Definitely.
And also, if you got any questions for Emmanuel, you can also respond to them on the 904 Live comment section, or if you want to, you can actually call in and speak to Emmanuel. Yeah, you can call. And the phone number should be on the line. If not, we'll put it up there. It'll be 904-568-0411. That's to talk to Emmanuel. That'll be after the break on the Sunshine Sports Report. And we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. All right. So what we'll do is
Y'all gotta get down to the nitty gritty.
we'll talk about
CRM is a professional event planning and design firm based in Jacksonville, Florida. For all your wedding or design and corporate events, that's CRM. You can reach us online at crmm.com, or you can call us at 904-330-8373. CRM.
Very simple. We believe in our product. We get it to a mass amount of people. It's a done deal. We believe that we're number one. And if we're not number one, we'll settle for number two. But number one better not twist his ankle, because if number one twists his ankle, we're coming in the game and we're not coming out. Simple as that. We're going to press to be number one, and we're going to push whoever's number one to the limit. So when it comes to catering, hey, we put that food on the table. We get it to a large amount of people. When they bite into our tender ribs, when they bite into our pulled pork, when they bite into that juicy chicken, hey, it's a done deal. Quality barbecue is our business, and that's what we do.
sports topics you want to discuss, and the conversations that others are afraid to have. Every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. right here on the Terry McGriff Show on 904 Live.
You do? And we're back on the Sunshine Sports Report. This is Greg Daniels along with Emmanuel Williams, one of my grandsons. He's got more facial hair than me. You got more hair on your face than on your head. I guess that's the sign of the times, huh? Macho man? Okay. This is a sports show, so we're going to talk about sports. What got you involved in sports?
Well, I was going into it, really. My dad, he was a big Dallas Cowboy fan.
Okay.
We were all Seminole fans, my dad and my mom, so it was a culture for me, you know. And
it was in the
I
culture.
just-
It was
yeah,
in the water.
Basically, yeah. Basically, so I just went with it.
Okay, so we now know that you're a Florida State fan because you said you were so you're also a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yeah. Basically,
You are?
yeah.
You are?
I
Either
have
you-
to. It's in
either
the
you-
culture. Like you said, it's in the water, so I have to
So
be a
the Dallas
Cowboy
Cowboys
fan.
are your actual favorite, say, sports team?
Even though I'm a fan, that don't mean they my favorite team.
Oh,
That's not
okay.
what I mean.
So living in Jacksonville your entire 18 years, you're actually a Jaguar fan, which is understandable.
I'm not a Jaguars fan. I'm not a Jaguars fan. I'm a Patriots fan, and I'm a Buccaneers fan.
Wait a minute, hold on.
I know.
How is
I'm gonna have
that
to break it down.
possible?
I
Well,
gotta
I
break it
can
down.
understand being from Florida, you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. I get that. But I like the Buccaneers back when I was about your age.
Yeah.
But how did you get to be a Tampa Bay, New England Patriot fan?
Okay, look, I'm glad you asked. So, Tom Brady, the greatest.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh my gosh. The greatest quarterback of all time.
Okay.
I mean, like, he just have an aura that you just can't help yourself but be drawn to it. You know what I'm saying? And the head coach, Bill Belichick, the greatest head coach of all time.
Okay.
You just can't help and just love that foundation over in New England.
So so when did you switch over from the Cowboys to New England?
I'm
because
not
I knew
gonna say I switched because I'm still a.
I remember you being a Dallas Cowboy fan because you used to wear Dallas Cowboy paraphernalia.
Okay.
I never saw you with New England. So when did this take place?
So sometime like 2011, I think that would be watching the Patriots play against the Giants. I think that really drew me close to them, even though we lost. We shouldn't have lost that game, but that drew me close to them. And what really got the bond strong was when we had a close game with the Seahawks. That Super Bowl,
Don't ask me the
Or-
numbers. I know the Super Bowl that you're talking
you know what
about.
I'm talking about?
That
Okay.
was the one where the interception at the goal line. Okay.
Yeah. When Tom Brady took on the Legion of Boom.
Right. That
They
was
re-
it. That cemented it for you, huh?
That's a minute, yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, our number is 904-568-0411. If you want to talk to myself or Emmanuel, call him. He'll answer any questions you have, or you can make a comment about how a young man from Jacksonville, Florida became a Tom Brady fan. Now, let me ask you about Tom Brady. Tom Brady has played for the New England Patriots for longer than you've been alive. Did it surprise you that Tom decided to go elsewhere?
It did surprise me. I'm not gonna lie, it did surprise me. I feel like because he had built so much and made history and so many things, I feel like
Hello? Go ahead. Continue the conversation.
I feel like
do me a favor, though.
that
We'll get you
that
on the air,
really
but you got to turn your
showed
computer
that
down.
he was meant to be in New England. That's what I felt like. Yeah,
All
him
right.
leaving back in, what was that, February? I think it was February, March. When
Yeah.
I think that.
All right, you're on the
I'm
air,
sure.
caller. You're talking to not only me, but you also, Emmanuel can hear you.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Daniels.
Yes.
I have a question for Emmanuel Williams.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Ask the question. He hears you.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel Williams.
Good afternoon.
Okay, kid. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. What's the question?
This is Felicia Blackshire. I'm calling representing the west side of Jacksonville.
Okay.
And my question, it doesn't have to do with sports, but I want to know how has life changed for him during this pandemic? Being a senior, yes.
How's
Can you hear me
life?
now?
Yeah, we heard you. How has life changed for him during this pandemic?
Well, since my life mostly consisted of school up to this point, it changed drastically. I remember, like you said, coming into September, everything looked up. Everything looked up for me, but going into like February, March, everything just started spiraling out of control, and I felt like I didn't really have my life in control. I felt like I wasn't in control of my destiny. So,
But do you believe that you're always in control of your destiny?
I still believe I am. I believe I'm in control of my destiny, but I feel like I can't control other things that are around me. And this pandemic really taught me that you can't control nature. You must let it take its course. So that's what this is taught me.
In other words, are you saying you feel stuck in some kind of way?
Not so much stuck. I just feel more so that everything around me is it's taking its own course. I'm not gonna say stuck. I just feel like you're not in control of everything. Only yourself. So I wouldn't say I'm stuck.
Okay.
That's true.
All right. Thank you, Miss Blackshire. Appreciate the call.
Thank you for calling in, Miss
All right.
Blackshire.
Yes, y'all have a wonderful evening.
All right. Good call. Good answer too. Because you can only control what you can control.
Right.
Even though things are set to happen that you expect to happen, they don't always happen that way.
Yeah.
So
I
you
had to
can
learn
just
that.
only control yourself. So, Mr. Tampa Bay Buck, we were talking about
Tampa Bay Patriot.
Tampa Bay Patriots. We were talking about Tom Brady and him going to Tampa Bay, and you caught off guard. Now that Tom's there, and he is actually practicing with some teammates, what do you foresee for Tampa Bay, and what do you see for the New England Patriots without Tom Brady?
Well, I'm gonna start with the Patriots. The Patriots, to be honest, I don't see things looking too up. At least his first season without Tom Brady, because Bill Belichick, he's in a rebuilding process. Like how the general manager for the Bulls was back in The Last Dance, but we'll talk about that later. I feel like that first year is gonna be kind of tough. It's gonna be kind of tough for them.
Okay.
On the flip side, the Buccaneers, I feel like everything is up for them. Tom Brady, he has all the weapons he needs. Godwin, Mike Evans, Ronald Logan, Rob Gronkowski, like everything looking up for them. I feel like they're Super Bowl contenders.
Now you realize that even though the Patriots no longer have Tom Brady, they did make the playoffs, and the Buccaneers did not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And not only that, they play. Probably the Buccaneers' biggest rival would be New Orleans and Drew Brees.
Yeah. We played them twice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got Atlanta. Atlanta figures to be a little bit better.
I guess you will because Todd Gurley, they added him on.
Yeah, right.
I guess they'll be a little better, but like we did in New England, they'll use the same strategy against him. I'm not so much worried about Todd Gurley.
So you're not worried about Todd?
Because honestly, Tampa Bay they have a solid defense. It's just that they were always on the field because the quarterback
For
Jameis
31
Winston,
times?
right?
31.
Always on the field, so they never had time to re-strategize for the quarter or these situations.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this: do you think, like, you watch First Take
Yeah.
on ESPN? Do you, and Max Kellerman, for years now, has said that Tom Brady is going to fall off a cliff. Have you heard him say that?
I heard him say it a million times.
So, do you think this year he might be stepping off that cliff?
Not a chance.
This will be 21.
Not a chance.
21 years.
It's not a chance. It don't matter if he was 30. It's not a chance for him to go off no cliff. He actually changed it. You know, he changed it to what he said, a ravine. You
A ravine,
yeah.
okay.
He changed it to a ravine now.
So it's just not as steep. So you look for a big season from Tampa Bay.
Big season.
And rebuilding year
Big
from
things.
the Patriots.
Rebuilding, yeah.
Okay. You like the NBA? Are you a
NBA
basketball fan?
Big basketball fan.
Who's your favorite player?
Favorite player got to be Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant?
Yeah, favorite player.
Okay, 7-foot freak. He can hit from any part of the
Any part.
So, how long have you liked Kevin? Were you an Oklahoma City Kevin Gunn?
Yeah, Oklahoma, all the way back from, I think just about when he came in the league, was like 2009. I mean not now.
Yeah, you realize that he played his first season in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle, yeah, at the time, Sonic, yeah. Sonic, I remember.
So you've been a Durant fan since he was a Supersonic.
Yeah.
And now he's a Brooklyn Net. So, and did you like him when he was with Golden State?
Yeah, I loved him. I love what he did. I love how he transformed that team. I feel like even though the Golden State team from 2015 that beat Michael Jordan record of having the best record in the NBA, I feel like the Kevin Durant team was way better.
Thought they were better.
Yeah, I feel like that they was better. I feel like Kevin Durant was that missing piece.
Well, we know that they won a championship in that. That team, the team that you were speaking about, the one that won the most games in the NBA history, came a game short of winning the championship. So, were you surprised when Durant decided to leave Golden State this past season?
I was surprised.
Well, you were?
Yeah, I was. I felt like he had a lot more to offer. I felt like it was a lot more that they could do. I think that they should have put their knickknacks, their rivalries, all that, because I know him and Draymond they would go back and forth occasionally. I feel like they could have put that aside and looked at the bigger picture, that chip.
Sort of like what Kobe and Shaq.
Kobe and Shaq, yeah, basically, yeah.
So Kobe and Shaq, a lot of people feel like they could have won more championships.
Definitely. Yeah.
Since you brought up that aspect of it, maybe winning more championships, what was your take on The Last Dance?
On The Last Dance, I feel like.
Go ahead.
I feel like it was everyone got a real inside of the Bulls dynasty. I mean, I understand that it might have been from Michael Jordan point of view, but I felt like this really clarified everything that went on with possibly the greatest dynasty in NBA history.
Possibly so. And do you think it could have continued?
Oh yeah, a good 2 more years, honestly. Yeah.
You think it could?
True.
2 more years?
Truly, yeah. A good 2 more years.
Now, you know the team that won the championship the year after the dynasty came to in was the San Antonio Spurs.
San Antonio.
And a lot of people
Papa.
say, yeah, a lot of people say that may be the greatest dynasty. Even though they didn't win a championship back to back, it was that they were so consistent year in and year out, and every second or third year they were winning the championships.
Yeah. Some would say that's the greatest dynasty. I would say that's the second greatest dynasty, right behind the Bulls. I feel like the Bulls had a more lasting effect, even though, like you say, some people feel that they were the greatest dynasty, the Spurs. You don't so much hear them talking about the Spurs as much as you do the Bulls. See what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what it's all about. And for the Bulls, I would think.
You think it's more about public opinion, or do you think it's more about what actually happened on the court? Because now the question, I guess, really what I'm asking you is, to your opinion, this is just your opinion, was the NBA itself better in the 90s, or was it better in the early 2000s when, even though the San Antonio did win their first championship in late 99, their dynasty stretched into the 2000s. And mid 2000s to into the teens 2000s.
Yeah.
So, which was better to you? Do you think the NBA was better during the 2000s, or were they better during the 90s?
More so the 90s. I would have to say the 90s. I feel like we had a lot more legendary figures in the 90s. I feel like the Bulls dynasty. You had the Bad Boys Pistons, like near the end of the run. You had the Dream Team.
Yeah, and I guess you had the Lakers, the Magic Johnson Lakers, because that's the team that the Bulls won their first championship from, and that was the Lakers' last hurrah, or at least Magic's last hurrah as a champion. But there were some good teams in the Miami Heat, the Lakers, the Kobe, Shaq Lakers.
That was a great team.
All right. Hold on, we got another call. Let's see. Hi, this is Greg Daniels on the 904 Live. Who am I speaking to? Hey, Danielle. All right, hold on a second, Danielle. Okay, Danielle, this is Danielle Wallace, and she has a question for you, Emmanuel. Go ahead, Danielle.
Hi, Emmanuel. I had a question for you. I was just curious. I was listening to your conversation in regards to the pandemic of the graduations of everything being held off to July. I had a question. With all the trials and tribulations of everything going on, what are your plans for after this term of, I guess, graduation?
My plans after this graduation, I plan on I really want to just go back to school and get into what I've been learning about these last 4 years in high school, which is logistics, global logistics. I want to learn more about that aspect in college. Plan on spending my first 2 years in FSCJ, and then maybe going up to UCLA or North Carolina, and taking my career there. And I just plan on expanding at either one of those places as soon as this pandemic is over.
You're a big sports fan. Do you plan on playing any sports while you're in college?
I don't know. I might give it a try. North Carolina. That's probably a team I'll probably try.
Well, what kind of sports though?
Football, definitely football.
Football.
Yeah, I would try that out.
Football. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Choice. Sounds good. I just wanted to call in because you sound like a young man with a great mind, a head on your shoulders or whatever.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
All right. Thank you, Miss Wallace.
No problem. You have a good night.
All right. All right, 904. 904. What's the 568-0411? I don't know the number. 904-568-0411. So, so you're saying that you like the 1990s NBA better?
Yeah, I like
the
it.
rules and the way. And okay, now after there was a lot of conversation about who the best players were during the entire era of the NBA, starting back in the late 40s all the way up until today. Michael Jordan, kind of hands down, won that as being the best player. There was a combination of different players in the top 5. From what you've seen and what you know, who are your top 5 players that at least that you've seen so far?
All time.
All time for you, yes.
Well, number 1 got to be Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, AI, the answer. Got to be him. Number 4, Stephen Curry. I feel like he really changed the game with his 3-point shot. An unbeatable style with the handles. It was nothing you never seen. Number 5, James Harden.
James Harden?
The beard.
So, okay, let's go over so the oldest player you date back would be Allen Iverson, who played from, I guess it was like the mid to late 90s up until the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then you like Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, yeah.
So what about players, well, and I did ask you this, that you saw, and so the ones that you saw.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 guards, 4 guards, and a center. Well, we don't know what position.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we don't know what position.
Thing about him, he can play any position. 7 feet. You said it, 7 feet.
So those are your top players.
Top players.
And that's interesting because I started watching basketball back in 1962. Yeah, there was a world back in 1962.
Wow.
I saw, and the first player that really grabbed my attention was a guy by the name of Oscar Robertson. He was a 6'5", 200-pound guy who could shoot the outside shot and take it to the basket. And then as I continued to watch the game, then I became more acquainted with Bill Russell and then Wilt Chamberlain. And, to me, I think as great as those players were, I think today's player or players are better. Not only because they score more points or they jump higher, is that they're allowed to be more themselves. Because Wilt Chamberlain was told, you get down in the paint and you don't worry about taking an outside shot. And Wilt Chamberlain been able to come up in this era. Probably he might have been just like Kevin Durant.
I see him more so of a Giannis. More so Giannis.
Well, you guys see some old film of Wilt. And
you think he was agile?
Yes, he was. So you have to see. And I think that Steph Curry, I think he did indeed change the way the game is played.
Yeah.
But whoever coached him in the NBA, they need all the accolades in the world because up until the time he was able to take as many shots as he does, that was considered bad shots. Now I see people taking 2-pointers, and a lot of the analysts are saying they were bad shots. The analytics say they're bad shots because if you step back another 3 feet, that would be an extra point.
Right.
So the game has really changed, and I think that a lot of people say, well, Bill Russell couldn't have played in this era. Sure he could have. He was a great athlete. A lot of people say, well, Oscar Robertson, they would have adapted. What happens?
You got a point.
What happens is each generation builds upon the next generation. So if you do it right, the next generation of anything should be greater or better than the previous generation. And I think that's where the NBA is at this point. I think that's where sports is, period, because they built upon what came before it. And coaches are now responsible for coaching all kinds of different arrays of offenses and defenses. So, what do you think the Brooklyn Nets will do next season when your guy, Kevin Durant, comes back and plays for Brooklyn? Now, you keep in mind, Giannis will still be in Milwaukee.
It's fine.
So Milwaukee, as the NBA had stopped playing, they had the best record in the NBA. Is there any reason to believe that, in your mind, that Brooklyn can catch Milwaukee in the East?
I believe they can. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I feel like that tag team is unbeatable. I don't see the only tag team that I see coming close to that is Russ and the Beard, James Harden. That's the only tag team I see coming close. You got to look at it. Kevin Durant, he's such a hard person to guard. Like he's nearly unguardable. It's no way anyone his size, they're too slow. Anyone smaller, it's like they can't keep up. They can't keep up with him.
He'll shoot over him.
Exactly. What he got like a 11-foot
wingspan?
No, vertical. Like when he go up for the J.
I'm not sure, bro. I'm not sure how high he gets.
You can't even block his shot.
You would think though, with he has a 7'4" wingspan.
Right.
So if he jumps 2 feet off the ground, he's already 7 feet high, and he has another. It would probably be like 13 feet, something like that.
Exactly. And you got Kyrie Irving here. I feel like he's a captain. He reminds me a lot of Isaiah Thomas. He's a team captain himself. I feel like he can take up the game anytime he wants. Either one of them really can.
Well, what happened to him in Boston?
In Boston? What you mean what happened to him?
Well, Boston.
You mean like he wasn't as dominant?
Right. The Boston Celtics were, the year before Kyrie got there, they were up and coming young team. Mm-hmm. Kyrie was there for a couple of years, and they never got to the point where they were the year prior to Kyrie getting there.
Well, like you said, it was an up and coming young team. I feel like a team like that, you should leave them alone. You should let them develop on their own. I don't feel like
so it was a bad move just to bring Kyrie.
I feel like that was a bad move. You probably shouldn't have. I mean, like Cleveland, you really think about it, Cleveland wasn't a bad spot for him to leave. I feel like he could have stayed there. He could have grew with them. After LeBron left them.
He would have been the main guy.
Right.
But now he's in Brooklyn, so now he's the main guy, at least for this season. Yeah. Now, what they're talking about doing in the NBA is they had all kinds of iteration of how they're going to come back. Now, the very last thing I heard was that they plan on doing one of two things. One, pick up the season and finish the season off. And they would do that by having non-playoff teams or teams that were just barely in the playoff play one another like a one and done. And see, there's a financial issue there too, because the NBA makes their money from television and from the crowd. Well, they haven't played any games, so there's been no TV. They haven't had any audience. They haven't had any crowds because there were no games. Players are still getting paid. So the owners have to come up with money, and that's just a way to generate money. Plus, it's also a way to generate excitement. Not only excitement for the top teams that have already made the playoffs, but for every fan in every city. Right. So, plus, like I said, they got to make money. and it looked like for a while that there would be no audience when they came back. In college football, they're talking about having anywhere from 20 to 50,000 people in the stands.
Wow.
In the NBA, I'm not sure how many they're going to have. They were talking about maybe none, but then maybe social.
Same thing about the NFL too.
Yeah,
Same
social
thing.
distancing,
Right.
and maybe have, I don't know, a quarter of 20,000. What's a quarter of 20,000? Like 5,000
Yeah.
fans, something like that. Like you say, you're not really in control. This virus is kind of taking.
You can't control it.
You can't control it. You just have to kind of play it by ear. But the one thing I do know is that a lot of teams are really feeling the financial crunch, and they've got to figure out ways to generate money because nobody wants to give money back. But the NBA, Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League are actually looking at the fact that they may have to give money back to television because they didn't deliver, through no fault of their own, they didn't deliver what the television contract called for. So you're gonna see some things that are really strange. Now, if they do start playing, we'll say the NBA, they start playing in July. That means that you may not get a champion until September. So they start playing in October.
Oh yeah, usually every season they start
But this is a way for the NBA not to start playing in October because there has been talk for a couple of years that the NBA really wants to start now in December. And the reason for that is because it's football season. They've got to deal with the NFL. Now, while the NFL will still be playing, they'll be playing regular season games and getting, well, they don't have to contend with college. The college season will have been over, and now
by December.
Yeah, by December. So you know that whenever the NBA season really starts has been Christmas Day. Remember, all those games that they have on NBC, not NBC, ABC, and ESPN. They start at 12 noon and they go all the way until after midnight.
Right.
That's been there really the kickoff of their season. So now this may give them an opportunity to actually go to December and start their season in December. So we'll see how it goes. Now, you like college football? You follow college football?
Yeah, I'm a fan of college football. So.
Okay, college football is a real pickle, not only for college football, but also for college sports in general, because in the Big Five, and those are the major college conferences, the ACC, the Big Ten, Big 12, the Pac-12, and the SEC. That's where most of the money is being made as far as helping other sports. Like most of the sports, other than say maybe basketball, is really sponsored by college football, and we're talking about not
soccer.
Yeah, we're not only talking about men's sports, but also you have to throw in women's sports as well, because whatever colleges offer due to Title IX, they have to offer to females, which is a good thing, because now we're starting to have more and more professional women's sports, and we're going to talk about that in other shows. But for this, so it's almost important that we talk about college football getting back, and that's one of the reasons why they're talking about playing in front of a crowd, because they need that revenue. Not only do they need the revenue for that football team, but they also have to have the revenue to help some of their other sports, like the baseball team, the women's soccer team, lacrosse. One conference has already done away with their championships. Is it the Missouri Valley Conference? I believe it is.
Missouri Valley.
Yeah, they're not going to have any championships once they start because the football had not been around, and so they haven't generated any revenue. One of the biggest revenue for the NCAA has been the March Madness. With the basketball, there was no March Madness.
Oh, yeah.
There was barely conference play championships.
No revenue.
No revenue.
Right.
So expect college football to start, and it looks like it's going to start on time. Now, what it looks like when it starts is anybody's guess. Are we going to see full stadiums?
Yeah. We got to know. We don't even know how the fans gonna react. Sometimes you're taking a big risk.
You're taking a big risk,
Yeah.
and if they do allow fans in, questions come up. Which fans do they allow in? Do they allow the students in? If they're social distancing, do they allow the high price boosters? Do they get preferential treatment?
Do alumni get
Or
treatment?
or just the average Joe, the guy who's had season tickets since for the last 30 years, never missed a home game? Is he going to be left out, or is she going to be left out in the cold? You know, there was some talk too that, well, how do you not let people in? You know, how do you not? So this is uncharted territory.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I hadn't thought about a lot of this stuff. If you social distance, then that means that somebody's going to be left out. All right, let's go back to the phone. Hello, this is Sunshine Sports Report. Sure. Erica? All right, Erica, hold on. You're on the air.
Your poll on working this summer and if the pandemic changed your outlook on different jobs.
She wants to know if you're working this summer, and if you are, has the pandemic changed your outlook on getting a job?
Yeah. This summer I do plan on working. This pandemic, it's making me be more careful, definitely. Being more wiser and like picking where I want to work, because a lot of jobs have had employees come in having the virus and not knowing all this time until the last second when they're very sick, and at that point you wouldn't know like who was spread it to. So it's definitely had me think and be more careful in choosing where I want to work. But one thing for sure, this summer I am going to work.
Okay, now Erica and Emmanuel, this is a big problem right here. We have now over 30 million people who are out of work. So, and there's still a lot of businesses that are closed, or businesses that have gone out of business simply because of the pandemic. We were talking about the colleges, the football teams in college have to play just to support the other sports. It's the same thing in real life. Even if you want to go to work, there may not be any jobs available, at least not right away.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe later on the end of summer, because notice how slowly states are opening up. I think it's Atlanta that's actually opened up, if not the whole Georgia.
Well, no,
Right.
it's each individual area is open up, but
okay,
every state now is open.
Okay,
They're in some stage of it.
So slowly but surely everything's trying to open back up. You know how they open up the beaches. So yeah, hopefully mid to end of summer.
Right, well, there's always the food industry and medical, so those are always two places, but you just have to be careful. So I was just wondering if you were thinking about,
Right.
now that you don't have to go to school every day right now for the summertime at least.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate you calling.
Bye-bye.
We're down to our last few minutes here on the Sunshine Sports Report. Very fast-moving show, don't you think?
Fast moving.
Yeah, and so if you want to get a quick call in, you can do so at 904-568-0411. Okay, that's you calling. Now, and that was a very good question.
Yeah, that was.
Because, and the reason why I took sports as a vehicle to talk to people is because sports mirrors society so much. What's happening in sports kind of spills over into what's happening in the general population. Sports is right now because the general population is having a difficult time. One thing that sports has done whenever America, and for that matter, the world has done, the sports has done, is kind of take people's minds off of what's going on, whether it be 9/11, whether it be Vietnam or world. You could always escape to sports or some type of entertainment. Well, sports was taken off the board. I mean, you don't get a chance to go to a baseball game on a Saturday afternoon because you can't even get out the house.
Right.
You can't even watch it on television for the most part. I know ESPN now is broadcasting Korean baseball. You got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch it, but it's on. I think you see protesters wanting to get out and do things. You see it on the evening news all the time. Had sports been there, I think that people would have been a little bit more mellow, even though it's a trying time. So it's been something that we have never seen where sports has never been a part of something to comfort us. Got any last words before you get out of here? To some of your classmates or?
To some of my classmates, I just want to say, keep your head up. This too shall pass. Keep hope alive. You will have a future. Just hang in there. Class of 2020. We the best.
All right, that's worldwide too.
Worldwide.
Every country
We the
has
best.
a class of 2020.
Robert E. Lee. We the best high school.
Well, this has been an unusually good show, I think. And I appreciate every caller who's called. I appreciate every comment. We'll be back next Thursday at 7 o'clock here on 904 Live. And until next week, it's going to be adios until then.
What am I doing with this helmet, you ask? Well, I'm helping you get